Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed, and other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. All right,
So you want to call the meeting to order?
I will call the meeting to order. First up, do we have any notes about our minutes from last time, October 6th?
Any changes?
Any changes?
I don't have any changes. They look good to me.
Good.
All right.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 6th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So since we're here, we'll just do a quick update about the meeting me and Shelby went to that I wasn't sure we were going to get to it. So it wasn't on the agenda recently, but it was for AgComs and a new AgCom powers, which relates to what we're going to discuss in a little bit too. So, so if you want to just share kind of overview of what you had, and then I'll fill in any gaps.
It was a really useful meeting. There were presentations about all about, of course, the new AgCom powers, but also just different issues and topics that are pertinent to agriculture commissions. One thing that I was struck by, there were maybe 25 people or so there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about half came from AgComs and the other half were like farmers or people who were presenting or related to, working in related kinds of organizations.
Yeah.
Like Berkshire Grown, for example. And I was very pleased to see that we are one of the most active AgComs around. I mean, there are AgComs out there that literally don't meet.
Yeah.
So it's like, yay us.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see, like, one thing that became clear is that it would be really good for us to work more closely with our land trust, with our Parks and Rec group, department, and of course with other AgComs around. And to continue developing the things, assuming that we can get the town to approve the article that we're going to talk about later with new powers. One of the things that's really nice is that the town will have the right of first refusal. I think we may already have it if a Chapter 61 property is coming out of protection. And we can develop a fund that will be available for purchase and then lease land if it's, and so it'd really be good to kind of start dealing with that. One thing came up is that there's on the MDAR website, there's supposed to be presentations and step-by-step guide to how to exercise the right of first refusal. I did some poking around today. It wasn't quite as simple as what they said, but I did find a couple of other towns that have their own guidelines for how to exercise that right. And it looks like the language is pretty sure identical.
I know now, often they'll come to Concord. So I don't know if it varies, if it's farmland, would it go to ag, if it's wetland? I mean, most of Stockbridge is wetland.
Yeah.
It really is. So a lot of them come, but it may be a mixed use.
I think if it's agricultural land, then it would come to us.
Yeah.
And then, and then we could lease it for agricultural use. And one thing that also came up was that and this is not news but that, we need an open space and recreation plan in order to qualify for various grants. The Parks and Rec Department has started a process last spring. I have no idea where they are with it, so I think we should coordinate with them on that.
You can invite Katie to a meeting.
Yeah, that'd probably be
I
the best.
know it's hard for her, I think, to come to nighttime meetings, but maybe by Zoom.
Oh, she does work most nights, a lot of
Yeah.
nights.
Yeah,
And she's got little kids, but maybe by Zoom. But
by Zoom, she could maybe.
That'd be great, because they posted a survey on the website in April. And I really wonder if they got any replies and just
Yeah.
where they're at with it, and it'd be good to work with them on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, even if she doesn't come, I mean, bring her to the loop.
right,
I mean, because, like, so much of this.
overlaps.
Yeah.
I think, and we have a copy that they gave us from Whately, I think especially it's kind of, we have to, build the cart as we're going along, but we should also have a survey of farms and people who are farming in the town and
Yeah.
just see who is out there raising their hands for that. Obviously, I don't know if this whole thing will be super accurate to our situation. But it's a good basis that we can at least framework we can start working from, and maybe do like the Parks and Rec and have a survey and try to like really push it out a little bit to the community and have them just do that. So we can start building a catalog of potential properties that are transitioning. Because a lot of them, a lot of questions are, how old is the person that's managing land, and so we can start creating kind of a bank of memory of, okay, we know this is coming down the line. Potentially, what are we going to need to fund in the future? Because I think a lot of it too, what they were talking about was for housing. It's like to buy the property and hopefully with housing, so it can be maintained as a farm, and to keep it at that lower price range for farmers coming into the community to be able to not have so much debt.
Yeah.
So where does the money come?
So they said that we can work with the CPA and ask the town and start CPC, start bringing money in and just have it in a fund, put it aside and hold it and slowly build it. And then, if the Stockbridge Land Trust knows of land that's coming up that, maybe someone's breaking off a parcel that has 300 acres again, or something like that, that is farmable land.
The CPC is open space, historic, and
Well, under the open space part, actually, it's 10% for each of those, and then the rest of the 70% is whatever. So we could say, every year, could we get a little piece?
Yeah.
And just build up a fund.
Great.
And that's what I think is like, hopefully we can start as soon as possible and just put a little bit away, because we don't have, right now, we don't know of any property. But the day that happens, rather than going to the town and being like, we need millions of dollars or whatever it is, we can maybe have a large chunk just in the bank.
I think where they are in the cycle, and Sally would know better, but I think they're already reviewing applications for this year.
Yeah.
This would be for next year.
Well, so that leads to the next thing leads to.
And one more thing,
Yeah.
they're always a piece of it. They're never the whole thing.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Too.
Well,
I do really like that approach because so now we're gonna vote on the school tomorrow. But it used to be, just as an example, our old fire chief used to put, 1/5 of a fire engine away every year.
yeah,
Every town meeting, and he'd put it away in a
Yeah,
fund.
right.
Yeah.
And then, boom, when we needed one, the money was there.
exactly.
So I really like that approach because nowadays, my perception is, oh shit, we need this.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
And then it's like you're going to the,
right.
oh, we need 1.5 million. And
Right.
The townspeople are like,
What?
So
Exactly.
it's got
This
that.
is the rainy day fund, I think, for the moment when it happens. I think, though, and like they were talking about, the average farmer or person that is farming is, 60, 65 plus. So, and a lot of them don't have a succession plan. So I think it says in that document, do you have a succession plan? Like, is there someone going to come and take over for you? If not, maybe here's some options to start planning that and hopefully get them thinking that way. And us hopefully being an option. And, maybe the funds don't have to solely come from us, but we can be a contributing factor. Which this kind of dovetails, side note, I'll just slip in Tree City USA update. All that I will say is that it's been submitted and it's currently pending, just under review.
Great.
Okay.
Um,
One last thing
Yeah.
about the survey performance. I'm trying to figure out how do we even identify
mhm,
farmers in town?
Mhm.
And one thought that came to me was maybe we ask the tax
Mhm.
assessors
mhm.
for a listing, because,
Good idea.
If
Otherwise, how do we-
It's agriculture.
Yeah, I don't-
yeah,
That should be simple enough, and that should be public.
It should be,
Yeah.
yeah, so exactly, and I think, it's the bar is low.
Yep.
It's $500, but for someone who's theoretically in agriculture or getting a tax credit for agricultural land, they just need to make $500 a year. So, but if they're listing it that way, we should know about it.
yeah.
Short of anecdotal, I don't, Gary Johnson, I don't know who would even be listed as agricultural in Stockbridge.
Yeah, I know, it's funny because I
Well,
don't think there is
the
much.
sheep farm
Mhm.
is agricultural.
That's right.
And there's land,
Maybe forestry, that's because forestry is agricultural.
Yeah, I was just looking, it says, how much, timber have you
Right.
harvested, so.
Yeah,
so there is some
Yeah.
play with that. And then also, there's land that currently isn't necessarily being used as agricultural land. But, down the line, if someone's breaking off a piece or wants to, preserve it for later and wants to make it protected and potentially transition it to pasture or something that it was used for in the past.
One thing that I thought was interesting is that if we put it agricultural protection listing on a piece of land, that some of that land, if part of the land is not really suitable for agriculture, it can be used for housing,
Mhm.
for seasonal housing.
Mhm.
So, people talk back and forth about tiny houses and stuff. But I think
Right.
that could be, we had a meeting with some folks from you
Yeah.
months ago about, seasonal workers, farm workers who just can't afford to live here. But if we could help to make something like that happen.
Is there a property that's like you said, maybe, and I don't know where this gets in the gray line, but it's not conserved, it's not protected, but say there's a housing unit where there's something that and this might take a lot more of lawyering and stuff like that, but like to buy like a few units of like condos or something that's dedicated for seasonal workers. That I think,
well, that can be CPC too.
okay, there you go.
That's the third
That's the-
That's
category.
right, that's right.
Okay.
Yes, that's great.
Housing, historic, open space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know in Great Barrington, that's exactly what we did, was they had built up a fund of 150,000 by just putting a little bit every year.
A little bit,
So
yeah,
that it would
Great.
be available.
yeah. So that brings us, we've kind of been dovetailing with this. So, we're talking about the new AgCom powers, the bylaw, and we have the wording that was sent by Pete Westover. I'll just read it for the record. To see if the city council or town or / town meeting will vote to adapt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 4, Section 8L, and will be adopting the section established under the section, the right of the Stockbridge Agricultural Commission to, 1, buy, hold, manage, lease, or license land for agricultural purposes. 2, hold conservation restrictions on farmland. 3, accept donations of farmland. 4, apply for and receive grants, gifts, bequests in accordance with this section. 5, establish a comprehensive agricultural land plan. And 6, establish a municipal agricultural preservation fund. So the other thing I think we've heard, our ears perked up, and one thing, clarity, heck, we heard it and we were like, does this apply to us? In the presentation, they said any ag commission that was brought into existence prior to 2016 automatically falls under this. Anything after that, anything created after that is technically you need to pass this.
So we were in existence, but non-functioning.
So that's, the legalese there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think irregardless, I feel like this is going to be such a new thing. And I don't want to just go in there and,
To get town approval.
it would just be good to like go through the process irregardless of that one little thing and hang our hats on it. Because I think we're going to need to get everyone on board. Because I think technically we were in existence before 2016, even though we were not actively meeting.
Yeah, but the bylaw established it.
Yeah.
So, and I think,
Town council may be able to answer that question.
Yeah.
But
It
I
also,
think,
it will also draw attention to,
Right.
yeah, that's,
which is.
We need that. Yeah.
and I completely agree with you on just also it would kind of get people to pay attention and say, oh, great. So then if
Right.
something comes up that's relevant,
Mm-hmm.
I know who to talk to.
Right. It's just, it's part about advertising it. If there's someone in that room that's been thinking about that. I don't hear or see anything in this statement that I would change or add. Legalese wise, I don't know,
Yeah.
but.
I edited it to fit us, Stockbridge Town Meeting
Mhm.
and Stockbridge Agricultural
Right.
Forestry Commission. But otherwise, it seems like it's pretty straightforward and it just follows along with what's in that law, the state
Right.
law.
Right.
so the next step would be to go to Michael
Mhm.
and see what we need to do. I know there's like deadlines to get, but we're not there yet,
Yeah.
just to see what you need to
Yeah.
do to get it on the next, because it probably has to go to the select board
Yeah.
for approval and
Yeah.
then to town meeting.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I think it would be wonderful. There would be
Mhm.
competition,
Mhm.
because now things go to the land trust, they go to Laurel Hill, they go to the
Yep.
Concom. So this would broaden it, but if it's specifically agriculture, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and I ran into, excuse me, I'm gonna just look up, so I can make sure I get the name right. I ran into someone from the Stockbridge Land Trust, the president, what's his name?
Rich
Hey.
Bradway.
Rich, and I just said, hey, this is what we're thinking. We just found out about this. Just wanted to let you know. And on the surface, seemed very receptive and not like,
Yeah.
oh no, was like, oh great. Yeah.
Except, I mean, we all have to work together.
Exactly.
And I think, just pinging off of other committees, because there is a lot of overlap.
Right.
Just pinging off the other people.
Exactly.
This is my concern, this is,
Yeah.
why are you even doing this, and then we can hone.
And some of them are joint,
Yeah.
there's things that the Concom has with the land trust or, some.
And in a perfect world, we're all playing nice in the sandbox.
Mhm.
We can,
Mhm.
you can take the burden off of theoretically, if property comes up, we can take the burden off of it and they can theoretically go and do good with it over here.
Yep.
So there's.
Yeah.
And I know when I was at Laurel Hill Association, we coordinated with them, routinely. And one thing that's interesting about it is that the land trust doesn't want to own land.
Right.
They'll like, we would team up with them to buy something and then the ownership would go to Laurel Hill and then the land trust will hold the CR.
Mhm.
So,
So there's ways to work.
yeah, so I think things like that, we could,
Yeah.
and I think they'd be very happy to help raise funds and do the work to make sure that the land is preserved, but they don't want the ownership.
Right.
So
Right.
it would work really well because then the town would own it
Mhm.
and then lease it.
Mhm.
Because that's part of the whole deal is like the town would buy agricultural land
Uh-huh.
and then lease it to a farmer.
Right. Right. And then the farmer would be managing it and hopefully it'd be a 25. The biggest thing for farmers is having, if you're going to do a lease, making that list solid for a length of time. If they're going to invest a lot of time and effort into putting up either fencing or irrigation or anything like that, it can't be like a 2-year lease. It can't be like if 5-year lease is even hard, to make it worth your time to invest that much time into a piece of property. So, to be able to say like, all right, this is going to be a 25-year lease with a chance to extend for another 10 years. After that, it can go based on where you at or with your operation, would be huge.
So we could invite my son to come by Zoom, because that's what he does
Yeah.
in Maine is the conservation restrictions.
Oh, that's right.
On the farms, and I think he'd be willing to just talk to us about that
If you would
process.
be so kind, we can get him whenever he's available.
Great.
And I'm looking up conservation. We have a list of current and it's not complete, but we have a list of current conservation restrictions. I don't think any of them right now are agriculture, but I'm just looking for it while we're.
So on this note, I think this technically requires a vote from us. I would feel at least good about doing that to move it forward. So I'll put forward that filling in the appropriate sections, making sure that says town meeting, Stockbridge Agricultural Commission, Agricultural and Forest Commission. Given those 2 edits, I'll make a motion to submit this for what I want to call it, ordinance for town meeting.
Yeah, it could be a town meeting article. Ordinance for.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you have to go to the select board first.
Okay, so we'll submit it to the select board.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion
That's the first step.
to submit this to the select board for moving on to town meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
And the edited version is in the minutes.
Awesome.
Right.
We don't take many votes around here, so it's a big deal.
I'm trying to figure out what the siren is.
Yeah. In case you got to run.
No, I think, so we covered West Stockbridge now. I think they're running over to West Stockbridge. I'm just trying to
Gotcha.
put my mind at peace here.
Okay, so that's, I think, everything we had about the new powers. Next up, we have tree ordinance.
So I sent out that
Mhm.
that description, which is, we had the information from DCR 5 years ago. Did we start this 4 years ago? When you said a few months ago, a few years ago.
It's been a while.
We've been doing this for a while.
Good Lord. Yeah.
But it's just the same summary of what we have already from DCR that explains how to pass a tree ordinance. And I wanted to bring it tonight to see what kind of, this will take a long time. There's many steps to this, but what kind of things people think should be included in an ordinance for the town.
Is there anything, there has to be something existing, yeah.
We go on, right now, we just go under chapter 87, There's not
State law,
state law. We don't have a town law.
anything specific.
And
Now to submit Tree City, you needed that,
yeah,
right?
chapter 87,
That's
chapter
right.
87 sufficed.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I'd like to see things like protection for trees under construction.
Sure.
So many trees
Mhm.
banged up.
I'm sure the mass general laws, or
Yeah.
whatever is very outdated. I mean,
I don't think it's even,
yeah.
it doesn't address that. I mean, it's an old law before we had all the equipment we have now. I don't think it's in there.
Yeah,
Um,
no, tree protection zones would be huge. I mean, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Just for, because they have to go through all the planning and permitting and so on and so forth, just to, any tree over such size,
needs protection.
your ISA.
Is this is like the wrapping of like the 2x4s around? Is that like?
Well, not only that, but yeah.
And a fence.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
I love that. Yeah, you do construction and every single tree on the property's, backed into with a skid steer and.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know And we have to find out. I think if we do a town ordinance, it's only for public trees. I don't think we could mandate on private property. I could be wrong.
We should look into that.
Yeah, I should look at it, because I would bet that you can,
Yeah, I read through part of the material that you sent.
Yeah.
Oh, and for us, it would have to be a bylaw rather than ordinance. Ordinance seems to be the city.
City, so it's just bylaw.
But I read through part of it. There's a lot in there. You're right.
There's a lot in there.
It looks like we might be able to regulate private property as well.
Okay.
I would guess your powers as tree warden are.
I have no powers on private property. No.
Really?
It's only public trees.
So it would have to come from the town saying if we can put it in there.
Yeah.
And then, so then that begs the question, would say like the tree warden be the one that then makes sure that the trees are getting
I
protected?
think so.
So if we say it in the bylaw, we could, okay.
That makes sense. So that's just one example, but yeah, there should be other, bylaws that.
Another thing that I would like to see is that when a town tree comes down, when we take a town tree down, we replace it.
I would agree there should,
And I think
or
when,
there should be a one-to-one.
yeah, when we did it,
equivalent.
and with something like pending available funds, so it's not gonna bankrupt the town, but it's.
Right.
Does, now writing this, does this negate,
Chapter 87,
chapter 87, or is this just like
this is an addition.
an addition? Okay,
And it's more specific. Chapter 87 is nice, but it's pretty vague.
yeah.
And it doesn't address a lot of things. And I know the town of Wellesley has one
Mhm.
that's really nice. I think even in that article, they had some that were really good.
Yeah, it'd
So-
be good to look at a model.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that. And I think we want something that will get through town meeting.
Mhm.
We're not going to ask for the world, get just a few reasonable things.
Reasonable, not intrusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing that's going to get people really angry.
This, okay, so this is out of my depth, but in a way, and maybe this is just a pet peeve of mine, but with town trees, is there any, this might be really, I don't know, I don't even know. The soft landing, the drip line that was created at the base of the tree, is there anything about the size of that? I'm not saying to make it massive, but when you plant, say you're planting a new tree, making that drip line, that soft landing significant around the base of the tree to really help it,
To protect that,
to protect the tree. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I see people when they either put mulch all the way up the trunk, or that it gets, and this is more on private property than I often see landscapers doing it, not necessarily in town, but like giving that tree a wide berth around it. And so the grass isn't creeping in the next year. And this is just a pet peeve of mine, because I feel like often, like, then no one really corrects it. It grows, the grass slowly comes in, and it's sort of like maintaining those
Yep.
soft landings for the tree so the water can penetrate and help.
Yeah.
Because I don't like hard surfaces.
No.
so but the way they, and that, no, I think that's a good point.
I don't even know if that's hard.
No, if you walk up and down Main Street, just about every tree is hit.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of them.
I mean,
Mhm.
ANSI A300 has, best management practices as far as, and actually for urban trees, which is a whole other thing to
Mhm.
explore. There's a lot of, if and when we ever remake, and or we could even do it on a one-on-one basis as we deal with different trees. There's a lot of really
Mhm.
groundbreaking stuff coming out
Hmm.
of, water collection and,
Mhm. Mhm.
drainage management and permeable surfaces.
Right.
Even up to and including like permeable asphalt,
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Be great.
where we can manage those hardscapes better.
Right.
We're not in a horrible condition down here,
Mhm.
but we're not great either.
Yeah.
We're kind of starting from behind the power curve on that, I think.
Mhm, I agree.
So what kind of process do we need to do to get this?
Well, I think we start with a draft. I'm looking at Wellesley. And they have a purpose, the purpose, and this, it does sound like private property too, because their purpose is to encourage property owners to protect large mature trees when a property is undergoing construction, such as demolition. It only applies to trees that are greater than 6 inches DBH. And these trees are defined as protected trees. So I think the process starts with looking at a bunch of these, coming up with a draft, including what we think would be important to include.
Yeah, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. There's great
No,
stuff.
there's so many out there.
Yeah.
And Massachusetts, as usual, is ahead of the curve on a lot of this stuff.
We
So,
were just, when I left Colorado Springs, we were just going through our staff foresters were just going through and rewriting our forestry standards that hadn't been updated since basically 1970. And so they were going through and looking at, and so I'll see if I can get a copy of that. 'Cause
Okay.
just out of my personal interest, I haven't seen the final.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that, and if there's any ordinance or bylaw that we gravitate towards, if there's any out there that we know that we could just,
I would say Northampton, Wellesley, Amherst,
Yeah,
those are all
they would
towns that are,
probably be very.
they would be, Northampton, I bet, is really good.
I don't think we have to,
We don't have to write it from scratch.
but also, sometimes more, or, less is more. We don't, short of sliding a 200-page document across the table and being like, okay, we didn't know this.
No, I'm thinking a page.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
that's.
so my tree rings probably not, put my tree. But if maybe, and maybe this could be really helpful for us, is having, if you might be able to help us and look at that, synthesize what the best ideas are and that are the most achievable, and we can then if we can just funnel that into a laundry list and then just check off what we want to do, that'd be really helpful, because I also, I'm not a trained forester in any sense, and want to make sure that we're being reasonable.
Lisa is, but
No,
other things on her plate too. So.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to work on it.
Yeah.
And I know Great Barrington's is one page and
Yeah.
it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's not, so we're not going to ask a lot. I want
Right.
something that
Yeah.
will pass.
I didn't want to add more to your plate. That's the only other reason.
If you do.
I do like the one for one
Yeah.
for public trees.
Right.
That way we're not losing
Right.
that, you guys have seen the old pictures of, the tree lined Main Street.
Yeah.
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 Of course, we lost every single one of them.
Mhm.
We cut down a tree on Church Street.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
That will be
Replace
replaced.
it with
Yeah.
whatever, it doesn't have to be a big tree,
Right.
but one for one, because then we don't lose that. We're
Right,
not falling,
we
we're not
don't lose
falling
Going
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Except if we can segue to the next.
Oh, yeah. I mean, does anyone have any other thoughts or?
No, this is great.
So,
Bring ideas to the next.
Yeah.
I can try to start a draft.
mhm.
I'll do my best.
That would just be super helpful, because I know you have a lot on your plate, so I didn't want to.
Thank you.
I know you're a forester. I didn't want to zoom in.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, this is something I have wanted us to do
Right.
since we started and we
Yeah.
haven't, we get it done.
And I mean, if you two connect and also you have your lists, you can see what overlaps and then synthesize more.
That'd be
Yeah, you have my email, so
I have your
my
number.
you have my email.
Yeah. If I don't have your email, I'll get it.
Stanley Dutil at Gmail.
And I don't think I have your email, I put some documents into this week's email that you may want to forward you might.
Do I have your email or just send me your email? Or send both of us your email.
Okay, let's,
Yeah, because then I can, I have the DCR guide to local tree bylaws and obviously
The one.
the citizen forester document that you sent.
And
okay, so your email is,
Boudreaux. Actually, I'm not gonna say this
Yeah.
out loud to the entire world.
everyone that's watching right now.
I'll get you at that. I'll email.
yeah, you can even write them down.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise,
Sure,
um,
yeah, the mothership will hear.
so that being said, all right, moving on. So Main Street, this leads right into Main Street tree survey,
Yes.
talking about trees, on Main Street.
So the other thing that is a long-term plan is I am in the process of asking a couple of arborists to walk. And you are welcome to join, to walk from the Red Lion to
Mhm.
Elm Street and really look at what's there and what's making it. I did a rough inventory while the leaves were still on
Mhm.
and rated how I thought the trees were doing. So I think there's right now there's 2 stumps that were never replaced. And the tree that's on the corner, there's in front of 39 was never replaced, and in front of the insurance company was never replaced.
The one by the library is on its way out.
And the one by the library, the corner of the elm, and that's we just had it pruned, and there's some areas that are hollow. So I'm going to actually talk to the arborist tonight. It may just need to come down.
Mhm.
So, but I'm also hesitant to just stick things in because and I'd like a plan
Yes.
and not just, I did replace the one that was already dead, but, so I would like input in a plan,
Mhm.
which is going to take a while.
Mhm.
So it may not always be that when we take a tree down and we replace it because
Yeah.
that right there, it's, I think, we need some time to really figure out what we're,
Mhm.
When I was picturing that, I wasn't picturing necessarily that it has to be in the same hole.
yeah, but to replace it somewhere.
Yeah, to offset
I'm not-
whatever down the road or.
On the Concom, we do 2-to-1.
Okay,
With
that's
we do 2-to-1 replacement with a 3-year guarantee. I mean, if it doesn't make it, then they have to replace it again.
Oh, that's super.
So, and that's in our
Mm.
bylaw that we wrote on the Concom. So and people do it. So, I was going to say one more thing. Oh, and I did speak to Michael about maybe putting together a survey monkey
Mhm.
to send out to people because my experience with cutting trees on Main Street is people don't like it. It's a big deal. So to get input from people, right off the bat, that's not going to happen tomorrow, but this is something we're thinking about. What would you like there? Because my feeling is that these big trees just don't work in that environment.
And that's, you were talking about like master plan is right.
Yes.
That crab apple, I'm calling it a hawthorn, but the crab apple, you just,
Yep.
that's realistically going to be as high as the ceiling.
Right, it's not
its whole
going to,
life.
yeah,
Versus the American elm, that's my same,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and you think about like what Great Barrington did with their street trees,
Oh, yeah.
and they just, all pear trees, they're just not that big, but they're pretty.
Yeah.
So, a plan and instead of having like 80-foot tall tree here, 15-foot tall
Right.
tree, something,
Right.
something.
So-
And we know out of experience that there's certain species, the example, the one at the library corner.
Yep.
uh,
Bad.
They get hollow when they fall down,
Yeah.
Right.
so.
Well, they're on Riggs property too by the lavender door and they look awful. And I just had those
Yeah.
pruned too, but they're still,
Yeah.
they still just,
Well, I think maybe in, I don't know if it's in the guidelines or just our own ethics and stuff like that, talking about this plan, is, how much, and I think we've had this discussion before where we've been talking about getting trees for the forest or planting, is there's a lot of, obviously there's the road conditions that you have to take account of, especially if it's like right on the road. But if it's a certain many feet off the road that we're talking about, away from the road salts and the exhaust and everything like that, can we transition to something that's like a little bit more native, bigger trees, like you're saying, that might work further off the road in some of these scenarios versus the ones that, you got to keep it in a cultivar. Or
if you
something.
look at what is town property on Main Street, it goes in about 40 feet.
Yeah.
For most of Main Street.
There's a lot of weird stuff in this town.
Yeah.
So like in front of Riggs, there's this huge black walnut.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
beautiful tree that's, but that's a town tree. I have no idea who planted it.
Right.
And then there's all the big sugar maples and silver
Right.
maples and
Isn't there
those are town trees in there.
Wow.
is the ginkgo tree?
That's
there-
at my house.
Yeah. Is it
I
in
think
front of the,
that's my condo.
is it's farther off? Yeah.
That's,
Oh, yeah, that's definitely private.
Yeah, that's private.
Yeah,
The trees.
yeah.
yeah.
That's nice.
That's, I think that's the biggest ginkgo I know of, aside from
Yeah.
our.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so a lot of those really, really big
Mhm.
trees are in
Right.
already. I'm looking at the strips between the sidewalk.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's, in the inventory for that, from the church all the way down, that's 95 trees. It's a lot of trees.
That's a lot.
Didn't realize it was that many till I,
And then Church Street.
and then Church Street, I haven't taken on Church Street.
I was thinking that once this is in place and you kind of know, have a process going back over to Church Street and over from Elm Street over to the tennis court would be great. But that's like down the road.
And Bartlett did a review of Church Street last year, but we didn't do anything with it.
No, I'm just
Their
thinking Main Street,
recommendation.
that Main Street over to Church Street.
Oh, Main Street
Mhm.
over to Church Street.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the rest
A
of Main
lot.
Street, basically.
A lot of those are not, they're not in awful shape,
Yeah.
actually. I
Well,
think,
that's
in terms of what I think really needs replacing is,
Well, a lot of them are newer, actually.
yeah, a lot of them are not. There's oaks and tulips and
Mhm.
sycamore, and they don't look that bad. I think.
Oh,
And there's a few exceptions, but most of those are pretty good.
Good.
You know. But this one section, I think, really needs some help. So that's where we're at.
So it sounds like we got a third survey. So we have the one that we're going to jump on and hopefully dovetail with Parks and Rec. We want to get some kind of farmer land survey, owner survey out. And then the tree survey, it sounds like there's two surveys. There's the survey with you walking with arborist and kind of
That's different. That's
That's like
assessment.
an assessment. But we can get, I like in my head, I'm like, all right, that's one survey. And actually then there's the public survey, which is like, what do people want to see? And how do we want to phrase that?
And just to gently start throwing out the idea that
Mhm.
things may change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even as something as simple as like,
Mhm.
I think the trees are important in my life, or in my,
Yeah.
I think this is a priority for the town. Strongly agree.
Well, and you
Just something that simple,
well, and I think you can get a little bit granular because like you said, there's 95 trees just right on that strip.
That's amazing.
And as soon as you get the assessment with, you can say like, a lot of them are of X age, or they're getting
Mhm.
into their later years, or are showing signs of die off. So to put a little bit of pressure on people to respond, to be like, it's coming up, and we got to start figuring out how we're going
Thinking
to
about it.
pay for it down the road, especially. I remember when the trees in Great Barrington came down, and it was like
Oh, yeah.
it was so fast, and it was such a
Oh, but I was part of that.
Yeah.
It was not that fast.
no, I know, but
Not that fast. The outcry was.
the outcry was fast. Yeah.
It's been,
Now it looks.
It's beautiful now.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
positive, but now people don't even think about it.
Right,
Oh,
right.
Oh my God, it's great.
Right.
Yes.
But they did all the planting spaces too. I mean, they did the whole street. They
Yeah.
took up the sidewalks, and they actually made space for the trees. Where
Right.
you don't have space here.
Right. Right.
They got these little bitty plots.
Yeah.
That was a massive undertaking.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is the other thing is like you said, with the plan of replanting, do you know roughly how many species we have in those 90, represented in those 95? Is it all over the place?
I'd say maybe 15
15.
species. There's a lot of duplicates.
Because I think, especially in this plan, if we're having succession of, 2 go down this year, 5 the next, or you don't have anything come down, is, Great Barrington, like what it seems like you did was, it was like,
Well, we did, everything came down, they
Mhm.
planted, and then there were, at least when I was there, I don't know what's going on now, there were 2 or 3 years of the shad. The shad did awful. Shad did-
so they replaced the
So we
few.
kept replacing things that didn't
Right.
make it, and that went on for quite a while.
So,
But you learned
Yeah.
what made it and what didn't make it.
so like maybe coming up with like recommendations of, how do we make that succession look good? Because you're gonna have a huge tree and you're gonna have something, and especially if you put a more compact tree in you know, for X amount of years and then the next year you put another small tree in and that one's already grown.
I'm personally, and I'm not an arborist, I'm not a landscape designer, but I'm leaning towards smaller species.
Mhm.
That's what I
Yeah.
want to see,
Mhm.
not the
Yeah.
big,
Yeah,
at least on that
Yeah.
strip. Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of big
Yeah.
trees further down.
there's a lot of big.
And even in planting, I mean, it's been shown that smaller trees actually establish
Mhm.
and do better,
Mhm.
faster and
Right.
do better.
Right.
So, a 2-inch tree versus, bringing in the thing in the pot like this.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
but smaller in terms of how tall. it will grow.
Eventually,
The end goal, the
Yeah.
end, ground spread and height, yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
Um,
less risk, less maintenance,
mhm.
you still,
Less expense,
Right.
oh, yeah,
Yeah. all the way.
Right.
And they're pretty,
for the rest of its life, yeah.
just some nice ones.
And they look good quicker.
They look good quicker. They look gooder quicker.
Quicker. That's gonna be the tagline for that project.
Yes.
Gooder, quicker.
I like that.
So, next steps for that, you're gonna meet with arborists, and please let us know, because I'd love to attend
Okay, I can let people know.
if it works out that way.
Once we trade emails here.
And then, maybe after that, then we could figure out what we want to ask in the survey.
Mhm.
That will hopefully inform us a little bit.
Okay.
Because that will also give us time to figure out the tree bylaw in between before then. Yeah. And then we can space this work out a little bit. Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
Looking good.
Does anyone have anything else? Any questions about what next steps are or who's doing what? I'm gonna take that to Michael, and ask about next step of that. Only other thing is the back of my head, I'm gonna go and reach back out to the transfer station about composting and see if that can
Yeah.
get the ball rolling now that we are into the starting to get close to the winter months.
That'd be really cool, actually. We're kind of, I don't want to say we're out of room down there, but a little operation.
Well, so just for the backstory is we've had a few meetings, we had great conversations with a few people, and we had recommended potentially working with a hauler to just have their bins there and remove them.
Yeah.
And we were looking at, I forget the size, Tommy's, we had,
Yeah,
Thomas came in.
that's where I was thinking.
yeah. And they, so we had talked about them coming and bringing and dropping off like two of the, I don't know what the size is, like 85 gallon, just the classic wheeling carts.
And then we'll learn from there, but I think there's gonna be an incredible amount of interest.
they
Well,
pick up every day.
I think it's like,
I would.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking about having, the household bins available for purchase.
Yeah, because there's a grant or there's a reimbursement program from the state that gives us money if we have them available. I think it was actually the composters, maybe. I'll have to go revisit our notes. But so then I think there was just some consternation because we were waiting on the transfer station was waiting on a grant to repair a cement floor, I think.
Which is done now.
It's okay. So that's why I wanted to go check in. And so that got really delayed. And so now, we didn't want to enact it in the summertime when it was going to be, full summer people who were here and.
Correct. Start out slow and.
Right. So I'm going to go back and talk to them and see about doing that. I know I think they had wanted to do composting on site, but I think that was not our recommendation.
And what Abby and I looked at in Sheffield,
Right.
they had 2 pails
Yeah.
and that was it. And we watched people come and they had their little plastic
Yeah.
bag and they put the compost in and then whatever time Tommy's came, they just picked it up. It was so simple.
Yeah.
It is not,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, no, on-site composting involves a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah,
Not to mention, we have a lot of open space there, but a lot of that is technically wetland.
Right,
Right,
exactly, which was a whole other,
Yeah, we're towing the line on that right now.
Exactly.
And we're just,
yeah.
don't ask, don't tell.
so,
But,
No, 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 no.
no.
I mean, it always has been.
Yeah, so.
So it's grandfathered, but yeah, as far as pushing other projects like that.
Right.
You know that, at least without.
Yeah,
Potential runoff. We don't want to expand, and I don't think we want to expand.
no, and I
Get
think
out of there.
Mark, you know, they had talked about doing it on the concrete pad, but I think there's too much
And the
material.
bears, you
They're
know.
bears, and that was the whole thing was
Get it
the
out.
pails so they could bring them in at night, put them inside on the concrete floor. So I'm gonna check back in and see if we can get the ball rolling, because Michael said no problem with
Yeah, the expense was.
the expense was
Yeah.
minuscule, so.
Yeah.
All right,
So one thing is, since you
Yeah.
guys both have a lot that you're doing, I was thinking maybe in terms of following up,
Mhm.
you know, I could talk to tax assessors to get a listing of it.
yes,
Fine.
please.
Great.
And maybe, do you have a scanner at home? Scanner,
Yeah,
or you can just type up a new.
Scan here.
We could probably do it here, but if you wanted to take this and.
oh, yeah.
And design, either copy word for word or,
Oh, I can do it.
and just put that into a document, and then we can share the next one to
Sure.
review.
Will do.
And then we'll figure out how to get that online if that's something that we would want to do.
Make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.